Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is the daily medicine transmission for April 14th, 2021. Thank you for being here. To my subscribers, welcome back. You truly are the lifeblood of this channel. I truly appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, your comments, and sharing this video. If you're new to this channel, welcome to this space. It's so great to have you here. And if you interact with this content at all, it really does make it a difference. It does impact the algorithm when you subscribe, when you share, when you hit the like button, when you hit that notification bell. So when you know when I actually upload or go live. I go live every day, Monday through Friday, with the daily medicine transmission to basically share with you my own personal intuitive messages and transmissions that I receive. So this offering is always available to those who feel called to come and being part of this space. If you are interested in my astrology content, I would, number one, check out the new moon report. This is on YouTube and BitChute currently for this entire lunar cycle that started with our new moon on the 11th at 23 degrees Aries. Wow. I would definitely check that out. There have been incredible starseed activations around that time, and they're starting to taper just a little bit. But if you've noticed, the Schumann is starting to pop a little bit. And so there's activity, there's certainly movement, and Venus returns home today. So if you are interested in supporting the astrology work that I do and supporting Catalyst Energies, you can go to the subscribe star link in the description box below, and you can subscribe to that work for $3 a month. You get weekly astrology reports, the new moon, the full moon, and any special events that are astrologically significant, such as the equinoxes, the solstices, eclipse season, which is coming up in May, gonna be really important. So it's a great way to support the work and support the continued education that astrology absolutely requires. It is a very complicated and dense language that requires a lot of study. I have been consuming, studying, doing astrology for years now, every single day. And so your subscription and your support in that way really allows me to continue to do so. All right, let's get right into it. So Venus is returning home today, entering Taurus today. The moon is still in Taurus. She's going to finish her transit. She's going to finish her transit of Taurus today, and, sorry. Yeah, that's true. She's going to finish her transit of Taurus today, and, which is really important. And it's not going to be without its challenges. So hold on one second here. I'm going to post the link to this live real quick as I am, trying to multitask here with, my attention. Moving into Taurus, Venus is at home in Taurus. This is her rulership, and she is, this is a very uncontaminated essence that she returns home to. But it certainly will not be without its challenges today, because as the moon finishes her transit of Taurus today, she's going to be making a square to Jupiter in Aquarius, and there is it's going to be meeting fixed star Algol, right, the head of Medusa, at this square to Jupiter, and then right after in a trine to Pluto. So there is going to be a real draw. There's going to be a strong draw for all of us to pull in and go into hermit mode. And as we go into the intuitive message, you're going to see exactly what I mean. But let's look at the chart for today and just kind of get a sense of what we are looking at today. So here is today's chart. Let's go to this very moment. All right, so the moon is also going to be meeting Black Moon Lilith today as well. And so let's move some things around here. Nope. Alrighty, I guess we are not moving anything around when it comes to this. Oh, there's so many windows open that it's impossible to know how to, there we go. Let's try that. There we go. So as you see, at this time, this is actually much later today in a couple hours in the afternoon. The moon is going to meet Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. And, oh boy, you can really feel the slowing down. I certainly can feel the slowing down. And yesterday was quite a day. There was a lot of agitation. There was a lot of fragmentation. There was a lot of frustration that I felt yesterday. And if we were not allowing ourselves to really come into some sort of substantiated mode, come into a form and to slow down just a little bit. Venus in Aries has been very fiery and passionate in that transit, and now coming into her rulership, she can finally just settle down a little bit into a sense of satisfaction and a sense of her own values. She doesn't have to really do much in this space in terms of proving herself and looking for and actualizing what she's really worth. She is at home in this position. But with the moon meeting Black Moon Lilith today, and also meeting fixed star Algol, the head of Medusa, before being in a trine to Pluto, it is going to be, there's certainly going to be a lot of challenges today. So if you have not slowed down in some manner, believe me, reality is going to do it for you. And I know for me personally, I had an injury yesterday. That really took me out, and I'm really feeling it in all levels of my being, and it's making me slow down. It's forcing me to slow down, to be still, to not keep trying to push outwards, to move outwards in that Aries energy, but to really just settle into my body, settle into myself, and allow some healing energy to really move through me. And so the fragmentation that was really strong yesterday, made itself very known and showed us where we did need to slow down or get very real and get very grounded and rooted. And like I said, Venus in Taurus, she is very satisfied. She is very secure in herself. She understands her value very much when she comes into Taurus. So there is a lot of aggressiveness in this chart today as well. There is this wanting to, like a boxer in the ring, especially our thoughts with Mercury in Aries, coming into actually a conjunction with asteroid Ceres in Aries as well, the boxer entering the ring. So there's a lot of aggressiveness. There's a lot of self-preservation that we are going to be feeling and pushing back against, and it's going to be really essential today that we give ourselves the opportunity to just ground ourselves, pull in a little bit, and allow some inner reflection to happen in order to understand our inner light, because this is what the new moon represented to us, is this inner fulfillment that we all have the potential to hold. And now that we have activated that to a certain extent, Venus is coming into Taurus to embody that within our physical nature, in our material realm, those relationships and those resources in our actual body. It's coming in and showing us all of that fulfillment is now finding some level of substantiation. And this will get stronger in the weeks to come as the sun and Mercury will also move into Taurus. But with the moon moving through Taurus in her exaltation, she does have power in Taurus. She likes to be in Taurus. It's familiar territory. Meeting Lilith today will stimulate quite a bit of, self-preservation when it comes to what it is we value. And like I said, there is this aggressiveness that is part of the chart. And then with fixed star Algol today. Oh boy. So the other thing I want to point out today is that Venus is, speaking of fixed stars, Venus is in a conjunction now with fixed star Mirage right here on the belt of Andromeda constellation. So it's interesting, these connections here, because here's Algol right here, 26 degrees Taurus, and the story of Andromeda is that she was being offered up as a sacrifice to the Kraken to appease the gods. And it was Perseus who set her free. And the way that Perseus set her free was by going and chopping the head off Medusa, Algol, and presenting the head to the Kraken, which turned the Kraken to stone. So if you've seen Clash of the Titans, it's very well portrayed in that movie. So Andromeda does represent the essence of Venus in some ways, and a little bit of Virgo too. It's got this purity and this beauty here. But fixed star Mirage specifically is the nature of Venus, and so she's really in her rulership in so many ways today, and gives a personal beauty, a brilliant mind, a love of home, and great devotion to any planet, any object that crosses this fixed star of Mirage. But since it's Venus specifically, there's really an overcoming by kindness and a beneficence and love that is really, really accessible today. But it will come also at this moment today where we will have to acknowledge what we have to let go of. What do we have to let go of in order to align with the greater good? What aspect of our darkness and our shadow, the unresolved trauma of the feminine that not only Black Moon Lilith represents, but also Medusa, the trauma that is expressed through this Draco serpent energy that's unresolved and not in the light? What do we have to resolve today? And there's going to certainly be some more tension and an opportunity to withdraw and really go into that inner space to find our inner light. And we will really, I think, decide if we're on the right track or not. And I think this is important to consider today. So if you aren't slowing down, like I said, there will be things in your reality that'll slow you down for you, your subconscious and the root and core of who you are. That's really the essence of manifestation, is going to come forward and give you opportunities to do exactly that, which is slow down, get into your body, get into substantiation, and really look at if you are on the right track of where you want your energy to really be projected, where you want to focus it. What is it you want to substantiate? In Venus, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of forgiveness. It's a very beautiful energy with Venus coming into the first degree, 0 degree actually, of Taurus today. So the moon also is going to make a sextile to Neptune in Pisces, which is still providing the mandate of the transcendental experience, the mandate directly from source of natural law is coming down from the mountain. Neptune is dissolving everything it touches in order to allow us to directly connect to this mandate, this peak experience that we will then be able to bring into our everyday life. And so this sextile, this investment opportunity with the moon in Taurus, there is this idea of the white dove. There is peace. There is something to look forward to. There's spiritual fulfillment here. And there's kind of this bookend type of energy today, because once that happens and the moon moves forward, she is going to, like I said, she's going to come into a square with Jupiter in Aquarius at fixed star Algol. And this is when the aggression and the desire to protect and preserve is going to start surfacing. And we're going to have to manage this in some ways. And the best way, I feel like, that the intuitive message that is coming forward is to to slow down, to get into the inner spaces, to go into hermit mode, because this is really the this is what Jupiter is really providing in terms of being an advocate and a benefactor, is this ability to test the battery, so to speak, to use our minds and use our intellect and that Aquarian genius energy to make sure that the battery is functioning properly. Because if it's not, then we can't actually hold the potency and the electrical spark of life. We can't hold it if there's something malfunctioning about it. And I think we're going to today really come into a direct connection to what is maybe malfunctioning. And this square on Algol is, again, we're not going to necessarily want to address that. We are going to want to wrap ourselves around emotionally our own desires. And I feel like that this is going to work against us. And there will be things that come in that will force us, again, into that hermit mode. And then from that square, like I said, fixed star Algol and is in a trine to Pluto. Eventually, we will be in a position where we will give of that head of Medusa, right? The expression of the unresolved trauma that is Medusa. We will be able to give of ourselves for the collective good, and this will be structurally supporting the work that Pluto is doing, which is the transformation through destruction of all of the old ways that we have gone through our awakening process of the trek up the mountain. This is about the inner guru as opposed to the sages and the old teachers that we have followed before. This is being taken, wiped away. And Pluto is going to go retrograde during this lunar cycle. So we're going to come back to this point. Not until January of 2022 is when Pluto comes out of its shadow period, roughly. And so this is a cycle that we are soon going to go into that is going to have us go so much deeper into our potential for transformation. And this moment is showing us what we can let go of. What is it that's unresolved? What is it that has kept us from really being the architect of our own reality? And like I said, lots of aggression today as well. We want to be the boxer in the ring, and we want to aggressively protect ourselves and what we have built so far instead of giving it up to the collective. It's really, I read this Bible verse this morning. Let me see if I can find it again. It's in Matthew. And really it's just coming from, it's actually if you go to Bible.com, it's the verse of the day. And I usually look at the verse, but then I'll read the whole chapter. But let me see if I can find it real quick, and then we'll get into the reading here. Because it says a lot about what, and it's the whole chapter, Matthew 23, is talking about how the Pharisees are hypocrites and the scribes, and they're really just into their own ego and not into being of service. And so, it's verse 11, but he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. And that really speaks to this moon in a trine to Pluto today, this earth trine. The greatest among you being your servant. What are you offering? What are you letting go of for the collective good? That really is much more of an extension of your ability to architect your own reality as opposed to trying to preserve and protect everything that has been built up so far. And that's a really hard place to be. It's not an easy position. So I am with you on this, and there are aspects that we're all going to have to face on our own journey and will force us to slow down. So let's look at the reading for today. Let's see if I can minimize myself here. All right. Yay, I can do it. All right. And we can take care of this. All right. Here is, oops. No. Sorry, guys. The energy is just drained out of me because it's all going towards healing physical injuries right now. So bear with me. Here we go. All right, here's our reading for today. And Again, we have the Hermit at the center here. We have the Ten of Wands, the oppression of that which we can't, hold. And the Sun at 26 degrees Aries is very much about that, by the way. It's very much about holding more than can actually be held, and to be forewarned about this. And the oppression, if you are familiar with the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the Ten of Wands is an individual holding all of these wands in this bundle, and he's kind of like hunched over. And it's the idea that there is an overbearing force, and it's usually that which we have created ourselves. We are holding more than we can actually utilize, and it's weighing us down. We can't actually create from this spark that the wands represent because we're holding too much. And the Sun at this position today is really exemplifying this warning that will be the effect of all of these energies interacting with each other today. So the Hermit is at the center of the reading. So this is the pulling in and the withdrawal. The Hermit also is for as much as it represents the zodiac sign of Virgo, right? Under the soil, doing the work under the soil, in the darkness to pull out the inner light. It's also the Saturn as the gatekeeper, right? And Saturn in Sagittarius is the Ten of Wands. So we are, withdrawing and retiring from the outside world, where this is the heart of the matter today, to be able to really pull the inner light back up from the depths of who we are. So let's start here. Let's look at this. Number one, the Princess of Swords, is reversed. This is the causality, the causal energy coming into the moment. The Princess of Swords, the Venus in the air sign. So you can see that she's up on her pedestal again. We had this yesterday, the Queen of Swords. Now it's even more rooted in the earth element. The Princess is the Venus of all of the elements, whereas the Queen is the water element. So the Princess of Swords, she is very perceptive and very serious and rigorous, but when she's reversed like this, there is a lot of discrimination, aggression, right? You can see that she's almost protecting herself, right? She's this onslaught of mental energy that she is attempting to shield herself from, and she is up on this pedestal. But the princess is very immature. And Venus, for all of the beautiful energy that she represents, she is very much focused on what satisfies her and what she is sensitive to what satisfies her and what doesn't satisfy her. So she tends to not be very thoughtful in the sense that she's using her mental acuity, except when she's in Libra as the ruler of Libra. And that's about balancing the scales of justice. But in this case, this reversed Princess of Swords coming into moment, there's aggression. There's aggression when the results are not to our liking. And this is very much coming into play right now. And this can certainly manifest in a lot of different ways within us. As the court card, it does represent us or other people. And I think that we are going to show a lot of aggression potentially today, as the chart has already reflected, when things are not going to our mental standard. And she can be really malicious and cruel and very spiteful, okay? And a failure to recognize the facts, right? It's just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen to it. I don't even want to acknowledge it. I am just going to block myself from the onslaught of new information as this causal factor. And so there are many aspects that that overall people are not going to want to hear and not acknowledge, because it's painful. And again, it doesn't line up with maybe the narrative that we have been entertaining for such a long time. And now we're getting information that is just like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And she's very immature. And when things do not satisfy her, the Venus energy can be very spiteful and lack morality and lack nobility. It's very childish as well, and especially reversed, it's very childish. Now, this is the causal factor. So this is coming into the present moment where we do have the Hermit. Now, this is about going within. This is number 9, right? This is a culmination point here, and retiring from the outside world. It's time to listen to the inner voice, okay? So this onslaught of voices outside of us that we're just like, I don't want to hear it. But it's forcing us in this moment to pull back, to go and underneath the self-reflection, the self-realization that comes from the Hermit card. This is the wisdom of the High Priestess, which is our moon right now, and reflects inner light. You can see here that Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, this is the guardian at the gates of Hades. You have to go into the underworld, under the soil, in the darkness, in order to really get a sense of that inner voice, right? You have to kind of push out as well. In some ways, this Princess of Swords, if she's not wanting to hear it as well, also supports and almost instigates this going within, because it's just like, I'm tired of hearing it. That could be another interpretation of that, is just like, I'm tired of hearing. I don't want to hear any more of anybody else's perspective. I don't want to hear all of the narrative. I want to come in and go within in order to find my own light and my inner light. And that does require descending into some level of darkness. Now, at the root here, and the core energetically, right, the personal power that we can draw from, this One of Keys. So there's already, we see that there is some energy of ending, right? The culmination in the cycle. We got the 9 of the Hermit, the 10 of Wands. These are energies that are ending and culminating, but we also have a lot of really fresh energy energetically as well, and especially at the root of us today. And so the architect is, as you can see, is responsible for everything, designing and implementing this creation in a material way. And so it's really time to step into a position of power and recognize our strengths and our authority to take charge over being the architect of our own reality. This is where we are rooted energetically, and this is very fresh, this is very new. And as you look, you can see that the architect is pointing off in this direction. And in the full reading, it's pointing to the whale. And I'm going to go into that because that is really important with the Syrian activations that have been happening. And we are looking at this Egyptian scene here, and very connected to the Syrian archetype as well. The Egyptian cosmology is directly connected to the star Sirius, and what the whale represents in terms of singing and vibration, again, is very much part of the Syrian activations that came about with the new moon. So we're going to talk about that when we get to this part about the support. But to start with, we are rooted here in this One of Keys, recognizing our power to be the architect of our material reality. So we move up into the heart of the moment, which is this Hermit energy. And what does it do? Here's the One of Scrolls, on track, but it's reversed. So sometimes this is about ambivalence, not making a decision, and trouble taking action. But in this case, this is really about questioning our direction, being aware consciously that, are we on the right track? Are we sure we want to get on this train? You might want to look at your ticket again. You may want to make sure it's the right time. Are you going to the right destination? Are you even in the right train station? All of these things are reflective of this conscious awareness and this mental track, right? The scrolls of the mind and ideas are, this is about the awareness and the questioning. Take a step back. Are we sure? I mean, we don't want to miss the train if it's the right one, but there's a reason that we're even questioning this in the first place. And when we move to this effect here, which is the 10 of Wands, we are going to feel the overwhelming oppression of holding too much. And when Saturn represses and pushes down on the fire of creativity, it is a cruel and overbearing force that almost pushes us to act out. Fire is not meant to be suppressed, and it will find a way to burn regardless of how much you try to push it down. And it gives you a thirst for might. And so you can see how this aggression may come about today, even as a result of wanting to go into this inner space, but a realization too. That's the thing about the 10. It's the end of the cycle and the beginning again. And so we have a moment here where we can recognize how much we have weighed ourselves down and weigh down our own creative spark by holding more than we actually are capable of actualizing yet. Okay. And this can be manifested in a lot of different ways. Okay. In terms of what this represents, but we are, as a result of being, questioning the track we're on and being rooted in a place where we know we are the architect of our reality, we do come to a moment where we realize our oppression. We realize we realize where that oppression is coming from, the root of that oppression as well. As soon as we root into our authority to create and architect our reality, and we are willing to go into that inner space, we will see the root of our oppression and we'll be aware of it, and we can let go. We can let it go. We can let go of our own Medusa's head, whatever that represents to us, so that we can start this cycle again. And I would not even be surprised if we see an Ace of Wands coming up in the very near future. Now, when it comes to our support network and some guidance, this is very fascinating. So, the lookout, of course, number 17, our good friend number 17 is here, and the dumpster fire that is reality, and we are looking out over the horizon for the next step. Where can we go? Where's the safe place? Do we have a backup plan? Keeping our cool and our composure in the crow's nest as we look out on the potential direction we can head, knowing that everything is burning up underneath us. So that's one part. We have to be aware of what's not working and what is burning down if we want to be able to architect and build our own material reality, be in charge, be in authority. So we do have to be aware to a certain extent and look out and be have one foot in the future and without completely disconnecting. Now, this is what's interesting, though. So he's pointing to the humpback whale and says music is essential to your healing and well-being. So we are talking about vibration, right? Singing, chanting, music, drumming even. But this is about the song. And what struck me the most when I actually went through the booklet for this, because I haven't seen this card in a while, so I wanted to kind of reacquaint myself with some of the specifics of it in that card. And one of the first things it said was when an individual comes to the shaman for healing, one of the first things that the shaman will ask, it gives me chills, says, when did you stop singing? And it's the idea that it's the song. It's the song that we use in order to manifest. It's the vibration of our song that is the Syrian power and the Syrian technology that many of us have been activated with recently. And so the architect is pointing to the whale. When did we stop singing? What is our song? Because our song and the expression of our song is what's going to impact the vibratory reality and put us in control. It's not about aggression. It's not about taking control. It's not about forcing anything. It's about our ability to harness our creative power and to utilize the technology of our own song in order to create the reality we want. And so if we are looking for healing, again, when did you stop singing? If you're looking to make a change in your reality, you're unsatisfied, and Venus will let you know if you're unsatisfied or not. Coming into Taurus today, when did you stop singing? It's the song that is the way that we manifest. And I'm having deja vu so strongly right now. So if, for whatever that's worth, we are on a trajectory here together that has already happened. And we are connecting. I am at least connecting with you on this particular timeline that we've already been on together. So what is your song? And music is essential to your healing and well-being. So when did you stop singing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop singing? Probably about the time that ship started to catch on fire. So the song. It is about the song, and our song that is really the way that we manifest the reality that we want. Either it's healing, either it's manifestation of a certain aspect. If we are unsatisfied with reality, it's about the song. So this is something that the Syrian starseeds know very well. This is their wheelhouse. And so if you are a Syrian starseed, you've been activated very recently into this. And so the upgrades are here. It's just a matter of interacting with them now. So when it comes to On Track, again, we need to really reflect, and not in our, lower emotions where our worry and our panic and our fragmentation. We really need to get into our intuitive voice, which is what the Hermit is really signaling to us at the heart of this moment here, is getting into our deep intuitive knowing, knowing the difference between our lower emotional compulsions and our intuitive voice. What is the difference? How does it feel in our bodies? And it's being able to reflect this level of depth that is going to allow us to see where we're off track. And where we've gotten off track, but we're not going to be able to do this without this manner of reflection. If we're still fighting with the ideas, if we're still fighting with the narrative, we're still fighting with concepts, this Princess of Swords, we cannot actually still our thoughts, our minds, and our emotions to have an accurate reflection. And along with that, the Tiger, you're being called upon to provide leadership. So trust that you're capable of doing so. But the mark of a good leader, of a really good leader, is the art of knowing alchemy. Specifically, making decisions based on what you determine to be for the greatest good, and rather than catering to your own self-serving needs. And when you are able to still the lower emotions and really reflect deeply on yourself and what's your own inner light, then you are actually stepping into a position of authority and power, which the One of Keys is having, showing us that we are rooted into energetically into this authority and power in our skill set. And they're all unique. Everybody has this unique skill set that they are here to offer. The Tiger, for as powerful and as much as it pounces on its prey in order to sustain itself, is just as easily able to wait and to be still. And so the mark of a good leader is being able to know when to act and know when to receive, know when to be still, know when to be silent. This is important. And we are collectively now considering how far we may have gone off track with many things that have transpired over especially the last year. And for those of us, again, that are starseeds, light workers, digital soldiers, however, wanderers, truth tellers, we're here to be a lighthouse, right? That's what that Hermit is. But the only way that you are able to actually be this lighthouse is to go into the depths of your own spirit and soul in order to find your own inner light, and then it shines forward. So that does require, if we want to address where we've gotten off track, if we want to consider where we've gotten off track, or if we're on the right track, sometimes leadership is about being able to receive. It's about being able to be still, like I said, and very reflective. And like I said, determining what is for the greatest good rather than fulfilling our own self-serving needs. And this will be challenged today with the moon meeting fixed star Algol, with the moon in Taurus meeting black moon Lilith, with Mercury in a conjunction with asteroid Ceres at this degree of Aries that is about the boxer entering the ring. And it's not to say that we shouldn't take action, but we have to see how we have piled all of this on top of ourselves and extinguishing our own fire. And we're going to do that by being able to reflect deeply and to go within ourselves. So take what has come to you that is forcing you to slow down, that is allowing you to embody what it is you truly value, with Venus moving into Taurus today. And there will be beneficence, there will be good fortune and love and forgiveness that comes along with Venus as well today. It's a beautiful transit, but it also will require some willingness to have some courage to go into these darker spaces. It's a lot easier to keep, pushing back or when we can't reconcile the distortion or the when we can't reconcile the distortion or the differences that we're having between our intuition and maybe what someone is telling us, it can cause a lot of stress. And so we're really going to need to get deeper into ourselves. And that might mean withdrawing from social media. That may mean withdrawing from the normal channels of information that you've relied upon, that maybe they are not as reliable as we've thought, and realize that we have to develop our own song, right? It's our song that allows us to be the architect of our own reality. And the Syrian starseeds specifically are really, and the Lyrans, they're bringing a lot of courage and fearlessness to this, but the Syrians are a big part of this right now. So that's the transmission for today, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're interested in a reading or energy work, you can go to the website. That is also in the description box below. You can easily link to it and you can book a service through there. One step at a time, my friends, and don't be afraid to, pull in and contract a little bit today. That's the thing about Venus and Taurus. This is very feminine, earth-based energy, and it's about holding the space, the medium of our growth. And substantiation is absolutely part of this process, but we have to, if we want to substantiate exactly what we want, we have to be aware of what we are putting out there vibrationally. And we're being called upon to provide leadership so that we are on the right track, and we can consider make sure that we are on the right track, and to consider maybe where we've gotten off track collectively. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you on tomorrow's transmission. Take care.